We are live. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I know it's late, but I didn't do a Thanksgiving show. And as you can see, I'm not here alone. But before I introduce him again, because if y'all been watching my show, he was here before. And things have changed since he's been on my show last. So I want to let him talk about that stuff. But before,
I guess it has, because that was September. Yeah.
Yes.
And I was an RBR host back then.
That's right. That is right. So, guys, all the links to my guest here, Will Washington, is in the description. So please do yourselves a favor and check out the links. But before that happens, if you're in the room, please hit that like button, subscribe. And of course, Will, when we last spoke, when you were last on my show, you are the founder and you were the host of RBR, right?
Yep, I was. I still am. I'm not the host any longer, but I was founder of RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk, which is still going. And they're still running strong. Cody Carlson and Paul Griffin and B-Rob are holding it down over there. And shout out to those guys. B-Rob just took my spot, and I'm really happy for him. So
that's awesome.
But that's been really cool. But yeah, actually, as you can see there on the bottom, yes. I have been for the last 2 months and some change been hosting Grapsity on Fightful. I do that every Saturday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, with my boys, Righteous Reg, who just had the cover story on this month's Pro Wrestling Illustrated. He got to interview the WWE champion Big E, and so that's been really cool for him. And of course, my dude Philip Lindsay, Bleacher Report. So the three of us came together. We started Grapsity, and it's been a dream. I'm excited at how well the show's been doing, and just the feedback it's been getting is almost, as Reg likes to say, it's been overwhelming. We've had wrestlers reach out to us, tell us how much they like it. We've had just the feedback of the show has just been generally great. The conversations have been great. The jokes have been funny. All has been flying. It's been so much fun. I've been having a blast doing Grapsity.
And it looks like it. And I've tuned into a couple of the shows. And you guys just have an amazing chemistry. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
Flows. So people in the room and people, if you're not watching this live, if you haven't, go over to the Fightful YouTube and, look up Grapsity and check them out. Check out the episodes that they've done so that you can see what good content they're putting out. And then catch them live on Saturdays, y'all.
Yeah,
links are in the description.
/Fightful.
There you go. Awesome. I'm so happy for you, Will. I think that, you've been doing this since you were 18. Mm-hmm. So this has been a road. This is not I just started this yesterday.
It's not. And it's been fun. It's been fun to do something different because of the fact that I did RBR since I was 18. And actually 17. I hadn't turned 18 yet, but I lied to everybody. I told everybody on the show that I was 18. I think I lied and said I was 21, actually. Which, listen back to it, why would you have thought that? I don't know why anybody believed that. But yeah, I did it from the time I was 17 till I turned 34, and it was nice to start up something new, come up with something fresh, and do it with guys that I respect so much. And I respect Reg and Phil so much. And to just get to talk with them every Saturday is just so much fun. So yeah, check that out. YouTube.com/Fightful. But
check it out.
Yeah, I'm also here to talk other things.
Of course. But before we move on, I'm going to add their, when this is over, I'm going to add their Twitter links to my description so that, you guys can follow them as well. So, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Uh-oh. I have to thank you once again. People did something amazing.
Nobody knew that was me, but yeah, okay. That's
Thanks to this gentleman in this room, my husband and I will be watching Dynamite live on my birthday, on my 40th. I hit the floor when I saw that tweet from you, Will. I just couldn't believe it. I was having such a bad day that day, and it just did it for me. I'm just so grateful. So thank you so much. I've met such amazing people. in this
Yeah,
wrestling world.
so
So
so the backstory with that was that we were just kind of talking about the fact that because you went to the Dynamite in New Jersey, in Newark,
yes,
back in September, and AEW had announced that they were going to be there on January 5th.
yes,
On January 5th, and so we were talking about that, and you were like, "Oh, January 5th, that's my birthday," and I was like, "Say no more." And so, and so, I mean, look, if you're gonna go to Dynamite on your birthday, you shouldn't have to pay for it. If you like, it's obviously something you enjoy doing, and it's something you like and love. And so I was like, forget about it. She's gonna go. And so yeah, I surprised.
you're awesome. You're
I
awesome,
try.
Will. No, you're really awesome. You're cool peoples. And I appreciate you. So say hello to people. My mom's in the room. Hola, mami. My mom doesn't speak English. She understands it, but she don't speak English. So hola, mami, ¿cómo estás? Hi, Anna. Mind Runner's in here. Courtney, Bobby was in here. I don't know if he still is. Everything Pro Wrestling. And I think that's about it for now. Let's get into Dynamite because holy crap.
You might even say this show is fire.
Yeah. I see what you did there. Do you want to start with the main event?
We can start anywhere you want. We can start wherever.
Let's start with how it opens. It was Bryan Danielson and Alan Angels, right?
Yeah, Alan Angels, and and Bryan is in like full heel mode, although he's still coming out of the babyface tunnel, and that's kind of bugging me a little bit. But beyond that, because I'm like mentally adjusted, because it's been 2 years now to where I know where a babyface comes from and I know where a heel comes from now. That for 2 years now, if I see somebody walk out of the wrong tunnel, it like actually disorients me for a second, right? It's so like I am used to seeing like bad guys come from one side of the screen. So when Bryan like has this attitude, but he's still coming out the right side, I'm like, no, you
wrong side.
If you're gonna act like that, you need to come out the left side of the screen. And it's actually been throwing me off a little bit and making me wonder, like, is this heel turn in full, or is this going to be like just a thing till he's done with Hangman? I don't know, but the way he's coming after the fans, I don't see how he can.
Yeah,
there's
heel.
Yeah, he is a full-on heel.
He is a full-on heel.
And he is in. You know how AEW has kind of like doing like the opposite thing that the WWE likes to do, where it's like we like to give the hometown wrestlers their moment. But the cool thing is that Bryan is doing the opposite of that. Of like, now that AEW has done 2 years of giving the hometown wrestlers their moment, Bryan's coming in and is like, no, I am going to stop. Yeah, I'm going to stomp some heads now. I'm going to kick some heads in of your hometown guys. And the cool thing is that I don't know if this was by design, but the fact that there's somebody from the Dark Order for every city that they've been hitting, right? Because you've got Johnny Hungy next week, who is from Long Island. You had this week Alan Angels, who is from Atlanta, which is where Dynamite took place. Last week, you had Colt Cabana, who is from Chicago. And it's just the fact that it's worked out so well that way to get Bryan where he's going has been phenomenal.
I think that when things work out seamlessly like that, it just makes everything so much better. And since there's so many guys in the Dark Order, they did have a lot to pick from, so it did work out. I don't know when they're going to get to that one state where
there's the cool thing is they don't have to, because like after next week, then Bryan goes straight for Hangman Adam Page.
That's right.
So we got that at Winter is Coming in Dallas, which like still kind of works out because if the cowboy shit man happens to be wrestling in the state or the city of the Cowboys, and so Bryan even kind of put that over a little bit on his promo where he's like the home of the Cowboys, and here's Mr. Cowboy shit. But either way, Bryan faced Alan Angels. Alan Angels famous for taking Kenny Omega to the limit a year and a half ago in Norcross, Georgia, which is like right outside Atlanta.
How do you remember this?
Well, mainly because those were those early pandemic shows, right? And then
That's right.
and those were taped when they weren't able to tape in Florida, they had to tape in Georgia. And so that's where they picked up Alan Angels. That's where they picked up a lot of those guys.
They
Baron
did
Black.
pick up. Yes, that's
A lot
right.
of those guys were picked up in at the Norcross show at the Nightmare Factory. And so what was kind of cool is there's all these things that tie together where it was just 3 weeks ago, maybe 4, that it was Alan Angels versus Kenny Omega, in which they had that rematch, and Brian kind of gets to do a couple of things here, because not only is he, because it feels like Kenny Omega is kind of like a background player to Brian's story, and that Brian is almost trying to accomplish exactly what Kenny Omega couldn't, and the end goal is going to be Hangman Adam Page.
Yes, and no, I don't think so.
Yeah, so answering the question, how long was Angels versus Daniels? Because if he was faster than Kenny, we'll never hear the end of it. Let's see. I have to look that up now. There's no way I can't get by without looking that up.
Yeah, so Angels versus Brian Danielson.
That went
like 20
6 minutes and 9 seconds. So
oh shit, that was short.
So yeah, that was 6 minutes and 9 seconds. Because yeah, it was Brian, so it wasn't going to be too fast. But Kenny Omega was 8 minutes and 1 second. So this actually was faster.
It was faster. So Ninja Mortis. Sorry.
Yeah. But that's the thing. That's the story that Brian's trying to tell, right? That he's trying to accomplish everything Kenny Omega couldn't. And the final step of that is going to be going after Hangman and the title. So
which he's not going to get.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not a chance. Reg thinks so. I will say, Reg, my co-host from Grapsity, he does believe that I don't know if he believes it's going to happen, but I know he's been arguing with people all day on Twitter that it should. And and we will talk about this on Grapsity this weekend, Reg. I fully disagree. I fully disagree with that. And we both acknowledge it is a Grapsity thing. Brian Danielson is my all-time favorite wrestler. And Reg believes he's the GOAT as well. And like,
wow.
There are very few people I like more than Brian Danielson. Just all time. There's very few people who have gotten emotion out of me as a wrestling fan than Brian Danielson. And he's doing a great job now in the heel role. And he just continues to do it well. His flexing, like all that stuff he's doing.
Wow, well, you must have been over the moon when you found out he was coming, or when you saw that he came to AEW.
Yeah, of course. I was like, as a matter of fact, what's funny was, and now I've been thinking about it, because last year on RBR we did our year-end predictions, and we always give a prediction for next year. And I will still be on this year's RBR year-end awards. So Beautiful. What I've been trying to think, of what my next year prediction will be, and I still haven't come up with it. I'm on the fence, but you'll know when I put that prediction out there. But my last year prediction, my end of 2020 prediction was Brian Danielson jumps to AEW.
God damn, you got a magic ball.
So I had that one, and so I'm thinking, like, what is something like really bold? Because it wasn't like I had any inside information on that. My gut just told me that his time in WWE was coming to an end, and he was going to jump ship. And
I have a bold one.
Okay.
Jade is going to take the AEW Women's Championship at the end of the year from Thunder Rosa, because Thunder Rosa is taking it from Britt Baker.
So you don't think, because I think she's winning the TBS title. I think the tournament is hers.
I think Jade is winning the TBS tournament.
Okay.
I do, but I don't think she'll have the TBS belt anymore.
Oh, by the end of 2022?
That's right.
Okay. Interesting.
The TNT belts, TBS belt, TNT belt, they switch hands quicker than the AEW championship belts. So
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
And then I have Statlander in 2023 taking it from Jade. So
I want to talk a lot about Statlander.
Oh, we're going to talk about Statlander.
I want to talk about Chris Statlander. But yeah, Alan Angels, he had a good showing. He got the show out against Brian, and he came out of it. that's kind of the story of Alan Angels, is that he never gets these victories in these one-on-one matches, but he always comes out looking just a tad bit better each time. And even though he was shorter than his time with Kenny Omega, he still looked good in there against Brian. But Brian got to grab the mic and go face to face with
Hangman.
Hangman, yep. And
they couldn't touch each other.
They can't touch each other though, or Hangman suspended.
Right.
So this will be fun. Winter is coming up in just a couple of weeks.
Yes, so
if that card is shaping up the way I think it's going to shape up, because I have some theories on where some things are going, and I would love to revisit this in a week and find out if I'm right. But that card could be one of their more phenomenal cards that they're doing in Dallas that at Winter is Coming. Because what was next on the show?
What was next on the Dynamite show?
Yes.
I want to say CM Punk versus Lee Moriarty.
My dude, Lee Moriarty. I am so proud of that man. And just seeing Tiger Style come to life and seeing not just that, but how many people want to work with Lee Moriarty.
Yes.
That just makes me so happy, so over the moon for how Lee Moriarty's doing. And Lee going in there with CM Punk.
It's nothing but a good thing.
And arguably the biggest star AEW has. And Lee got to show out. He got to go out there and show what he does best. I mean, everybody looks at him and always says the same thing, that man is a technical marvel. Because he is just one of the best technical guys, I think, in the entire industry.
Yes.
And he got to go out there for 10 minutes with CM Punk, an all-time great, and show the world what he's made of. And I had some gripes here. The main one being that MJF on commentary was fairly unbearable. And now I feel like
I did not think you were going to say that.
I mean, like, and the weird thing is, I'm supposed to hate MJF. So on one end, like, I've never won, because I know there's a lot of conversation about, like, does MJF go too far? Should MJF do this? Should MJF do that? And the weird thing is, I'm like, I have a hard time feeling like MJF should. I have a hard time telling MJF how to be a heel, right? Because I have a hard time with this idea that, I know he's supposed to be a heel, but he should only be a heel in the way that I'm okay with. Because otherwise, how does that supposed to work? And so I get it. Like, I get that, but also, like, man, on commentary, he was really, like, grinding my gears. Like, I was like, I wanted to just, like, mute the TV. I was getting, like, angry listening to this guy on commentary as he's like, as he's burying the match. He's burying CM Punk. He's basically just, like, burying Lee Moriarty on commentary. And I'm thinking, like, I'm just trying to enjoy this match, man. And
just shut up.
Yeah, and there had to be a way you could subdue MJF a little bit here, but he was just over the top. I think the one line he had in there where he said CM stands for cooking meth.
Yes!
And like, that was a good line. But like, I don't know. I couldn't do it. It was too much for me. But the match was good. I did enjoy the match.
PG Punk. Well,
yeah, he's throwing out PG Punk and he almost threw that out like one too many times. I was like,
but he got him back. CM Punk called him a needle dick.
Yeah, and needle dick as a chant catching on the way it has. I think I'd be curious to see, because like when he got on the mic after the match, and he was talking about how next week he's going to be in the greatest city of all. They're going to be in Long Island, UBS Arena, and it's the first AEW show there, only the second wrestling show there. Raw was there this past week. And I'm curious to see if they're correct that the fans in Long Island do cheer CM Punk, do cheer MJF, or if it doesn't work out. Because what they announced, the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal next week, in which The way that's always worked is it's a 12-man battle royal, and it's always the last two remaining then face the following week in a one-on-one match. Who do you think the final two will be?
CM Punk and MJF. Obviously.
I don't know if Punk's going to be in it.
You don't think Punk's going to be in it?
Nah. But I do think there's a story that hasn't quite wrapped up, and he definitely said he was coming back for him. I think Darby and MJF are the final two, and they rematch the following week. And for the Dynamite Diamond ring, the same ring that MJF used on Darby to beat him at Full Gear, and therefore with the ring no longer in play because it's on the line, then
who's gonna win?
Yeah, then we have a different advantage. That's what I would do personally. Is I would revisit that because like Darby said in his promo that he's not done with he's not done with MJF, and that he'd come back for him. I would. I don't know. That's where I see
Would you put the diamond ring on Darby?
Yes, and then in like Darby fashion, I'd have him like chuck it into the crowd of like, because like think about who Darby is, right? He's like,
he's not about those things. Yeah,
I don't care about material things. Like they always talked up how much it's worth. They always said like it's a $50,000 ring. Obviously, don't actually toss a $50,000 or don't toss a $50,000 ring into the crowd. But like if you have like a fake or something, I would have him just symbolically grab that ring and just chuck it.
Yeah,
that's how I would do.
I love that idea, and my sister would love that because Darby Allin's her favorite wrestler. So, yeah.
Shout out to Rob in the chat, by the way, my the newest host of RBR Weekly Wrestling Talk. I see 3R show in the chat. So shout out Rob. And
shout
see
out to
Rob
in Grapsity.
Yep. Well, he's hosting RBR. So
RBR.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah, he's hosting RBR in my place. But I know, right? Because I had Grapsity because I was like, I get it.
My bad, people.
All good.
My bad. He said pew, pew, pew.
Yes.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yes.
Anyway, we had a squash match. We had Wardlow versus AC Adams, and that was a squash. But I love seeing Wardlow. I'm not entirely sure why he had a match. If this was like just to fill in time.
I think I'm getting that too. Of like, so I tweeted the other day that maybe I'm wrong here, but we are 8 weeks away from an episode of Dynamite that takes place in Cleveland, Ohio, which is the hometown of Wardlow. And again, this is if I were in charge here, I would definitely make that Wardlow's moment. It's 8 weeks. It's 2 months. That's a lot of time. That's 16 episodes of television because you've got Dynamite and Rampage. And then there's a lot of stuff you can do in Dark in between there. I feel like Cleveland, Ohio is the night I would have Wardlow break away finally snap on MJF, have that like Batista type moment of like, I finally did it. I broke away and do it in front of his hometown crowd. They'll be going nuts for him. And I figure,
go ahead. No. Finish your thought.
So I was thinking about this squash here and how the crowd started not that into it, but with every power bomb they got louder and cheered until they were like screaming their heads off for Wardlow to power bomb the hell out of people. And now I'm thinking about that of like, is this the start of his trajectory toward getting him cheered? Because the crowd love when he does that kind of stuff. And then even when after the match you had Sean Spears go after what was his name? AC Adams.
AC Adams, with the chair.
Yeah, and you went after AC Adams with the chair. But like Wardlow was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I felt like that was almost like the tease of, there's some dissension here.
Yes.
Wardlow isn't exactly cool with Sean Spears, and I feel like we're so close to doing this big break between Wardlow breaking off from the Pinnacle and those guys.
I've been waiting for this since they got together.
I know, right? I know. That was the question. Like the moment they got together, the question was, all right, when do you do the split? And they've been teasing it a long time.
It's been close. close a couple of
Yeah.
times.
They pretty much, I think it was only like 6 or 7 months in was the first time they had Wardlow, or MJF basically like tell off Wardlow of like, you're worthless, but you work for me. And like, you really, and really telling the idea that Wardlow will have a reason to eventually not want to be at MJF's mercy any longer. So
they have to have Wardlow like run through the roster so
yeah,
that he can come to a realization like, you're the only piece of shit I haven't beat yet.
yeah, that would be awesome. And like I said, 8 weeks is a long time, but there's a
It's a
lot you could do in
long
those eight
time.
weeks. And I feel like if you pull the trigger in front of a crowd that might be there for Wardlow, I think you could give him a star-making moment.
Yes, and it's
So,
time.
so I don't know. I
I
think
would
that
love
event
to
is
see
at
it.
the end. I think it's the last event of January.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it
because
is.
Revolution's in February. At the end of February.
Yeah, or it's in. I think it's
The
March.
beginning of March. The beginning of
March
March.
6th. Yeah,
Used to be in February
it
though.
used to be, and
Okay.
then because it was the first year, it was February 29th. So depends on who you ask, right? Because
right.
it depends on who you ask, because that was
Every 4 years.
yeah, because sometimes you don't have a February 29th. So that could have been March to somebody.
That's true.
So first event was February 29th, but then ever since then it's been in March. So I think we can look at Revolution more as a March event than February.
March event. I've been saying
Yeah.
February for like all this time. So now I got
because the first one was,
Yeah.
and we associate it there. But it was February 29th.
Okay. And your memory is just spectacular, just so you know.
Always will be.
Jesus. Share. So Lio Rush came out to confront Team Taz.
Yeah.
And Dante came out, which looking like he's clearly become a heel.
He came out the heel tunnel. I don't know.
Yes.
I have no idea where this is going.
I have no idea where this is going. It's actually one of my questions of the night. I have two for you. So I'll hit you with this one right now since we're talking about this. Do you think that Dante's move to Team Taz makes any sense at all? Because I saw him staying with Lio Rush until Darius came and then having like a trios war happening there and eventually becoming a faction. A trios faction. I never saw this coming.
I don't know that this is permanent, and that I feel like there has to be some kind of game plan here game that Dante's playing. Like, I would love it if it were somehow revealed that he's the smartest guy in the room and that he worked everybody here because the thing is
great.
Because like, when you think about the story of Dante was sought after initially by Matt Sydal, right? And then Matt Sydal pulled him and he worked with Matt Sydal for a little bit, but then Lio Rush was like, no, actually you're with me. And then he went with Lio Rush for a little bit, and now Team Taz was like, no, actually you're with us. And he went with Team Taz. And I would love it if it were somehow revealed that actually Dante played everybody involved here and that he's nobody's
bitch.
Yeah, he's nobody's bitch. He's nobody's lapdog. Like, and he does his own thing. I think that would be like the coolest moment for him for him to finally prove that he is the guy and the only person he's loyal to is Darius.
Is his brother. And then boom, Darius comes out.
Yeah, that would be cool to me.
I love it. But he really should be a booker.
Yeah, I don't know. I maybe just give this stuff. I think I just give this stuff entirely too much thought. But but that's how I would do it, or at least that's what I'm thinking. Where I'm thinking this is going, because it's not like Team Taz is the first time he said yes to somebody, because he did go with Leo and he did go with Matt Sydal initially. So, yeah, thank you, Rob. Yeah, Dante securing the bag for him and his bro.
Gotta do it. Bro injured. You gotta hold it up for the both of you. Make Top Flight relevant.
Yeah.
This is my sister, Anna.
Hi, Anna.
She does love Dante Martin, and she really can't see him as a heel. She loves him. She was like, no, what's going on? But this is life. People that you don't want to go see heel, go heel. And the people that you want to see go heel, like Cody Rhodes, will never do it.
Oh, there's so much to talk about there.
Yes.
So much to talk about with Cody.
So much. Oh, we're going to get there. The next match was Sting and Darby versus the Gun Club, Colt and Billy Gunn. I feel, is Austin Gunn injured?
He was for a little bit. I don't know if he still is. But I think this kind of protects the tag record of of, I guess as we're calling them now, the ass boys of Colton and Austin Gunn.
Austin.
Yeah. So right, because Billy is ass dad, and so I love Sting. I have to say, I was like, when Sting showed up at Winter is Coming last year, which was a year ago today, when Sting showed up, it was like, okay, it's cool to see Sting here, but like, I don't see him in any wrestling capacity. He's in his 60s, what's he gonna do? And mind you, for those who don't know me, Sting was my childhood favorite. When I was in elementary school, I loved Sting. There's no wrong Sting could do for me because like he was just the coolest wrestler to me. Whether it was Surfer Sting or like when he got the crow paint, like I just loved Sting when I was a kid. So it was one of those things where Sting coming back, I thought, there's a lot you can do there, but I don't know what he can do in an in-ring capacity. And then he had that first cinematic match, and it's like, okay, so that's what you're doing with Sting. He does cinematic matches, okay, but he's not going to actually get in the ring. And then they did the match at Double or Nothing. That was at Double or Nothing. And that match blew my mind, right? Him and Darby versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, they killed it. And it was a beautiful match. Yeah, Sting just went out there, had a phenomenal performance. And then I was like, okay, one time, Sting goes out there, does it. But there's no way this is happening again. And then they go out there and have that short match, but awesome match with 2.0. And again, I'm like, what is happening here? Is Sting just like a professional wrestler? And then at what show was that? Because I was there also. It's weird. I've seen Sting wrestle now twice. But yeah, because the other show was Grand Slam, right? Yeah, the chair's right behind me.
Yes.
And then at Grand Slam, they had the match with FTR, and again, Sting kills it. Great performance by Sting, and all of a sudden, it's like, okay, now now I'm convinced. Third time's a charm. Now I'm suddenly convinced. Okay, Sting's here, and now I've like been trying to mentally. Thank you. I don't know where that cat is. I was hoping that wasn't coming out on a microphone, but yes, I definitely hear the cat in my vicinity. But I hope they're not about to enter the space. But anyway. Just backstory. I do this show from my basement, but that's also where the litter box is. So I'm guessing they were meowing because they need to get in here. So I am now convinced at this point, like Sting is here. So now what dream matches do I want to see from Sting? Now all of a sudden I've just been going out. I'm suddenly like, okay,
give us one.
If Sting's here and he's actually having great performances, he's 62. I don't know how many more of those he's gonna have. So gimme. I'm like, okay, let's start knocking these Sting performances out of the way. Who do I want to see next? And I'll tell you, the Gun Club was not one of them. But this match did what it needed to do, which was I like the little reminders that Sting faced a very, very young Billy Gunn, like over 30 years ago.
Oh, was it 30 years ago?
Oh yeah. So that match that I've seen going around was of Billy Gunn as like enhancement talent in like the early 90s facing Sting. And
wow.
And so that was kind of cool that they were referencing that. But ultimately, this was Darby being Darby, and Darby launching himself out of a friggin' cannon, as he tends to do. He launched himself at Austin Gunn outside, got a gash on his head that was pretty gnarly. And then he ended up, and then he hit Billy Gunn with another one. Again, he just hits those at full speed. So good.
He does not care about his life. I'm joking.
He doesn't. Do you see the video he posted of him over the flaming, was it a flaming couch or was that a flaming car? Either way, it was something on fire and he's just like jumping over it.
I see his videos on and off, but I haven't seen that one yet. And every time I see one, I'm like...
He posted it yesterday. He was like looking for something to do in Atlanta, and he's like, I'm just going to jump over this.
99% possibility I will die? Let's do it.
Exactly. That's Darby out. Yeah, thank you, Courtney. It was a couch. that he jumped over. Yeah,
Okay,
it
I
was
did
a
see
flaming
that.
couch, and he just like jumps
I
over
did
this
see
flaming
that.
couch.
That was yesterday.
Yeah,
I did see
just
that.
yesterday. Yeah,
He's a psychopath, and we love him.
mm-hmm.
Darby brings different stuff to the ring. He's
Yes,
different, and I like different.
I do wonder though. I think he might be re-entering a program with MJF, or at least like continuing the thing and doing the match. That's what I hope. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
See what happens.
Yes,
but I think that the Sting and they won, obviously, Sting and Darby, but Sting and Darby put together, it's just seamless. It works. And their face paint yesterday was phenomenal.
The paint was so dope. That was really dope paint. I was really happy with that.
I don't know who the artist is, but kudos to the artist. They did a great job, phenomenal job. If I find out the name of the artist, I will put it in my description, because as my husband is an artist, I love to give artists their props. But anyway, Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho in the TBS quarterfinals.
This was great. First off, shout out to Taz and his singing of Ruby Soho's theme. Never gets old. So I'm not sure what wasn't clicking for me with Ruby since her debut. Like I thought she had a great performance in the
I'm not feeling her.
Thank you.
I'm not feeling. I'm just gonna come out and be honest. Ruby Soho has not done it for me at all. She comes off a little sloppy, a little floppy. I don't.
You know what? I was gonna say that until this match, because I felt that way with the Britt Baker match, and I felt like something just wasn't clicking. The bunny matches, like all of that, none of this stuff was really clicking with me for her, to the point of where I'm like, am I misremembering how good I thought Ruby Soho was? And I feel like this match was the match she's needed to have for a long time. And the thing I loved about this match was how one-sided it wasn't. That Chris Statlander, because I felt two ways about it. I'm like, I don't think Ruby Soho should be losing right now, but at the same time, I hate that it has to come at the expense of Chris Statlander. And so I'm like, how do you reconcile both of those things? And I feel like they did a great job at it, because this match basically told the story of Ruby Soho trying to beat a Chris Statlander that would not die. And there was a whole Twitter discourse over what a lot of people affectionately refer to as the NXT face, which is where somebody kicks out of a pinfall and they go, yeah. And
I thought about you.
Right.
Immediately, because you said you do not.
Yeah, but I will say this. It was called for here, because Ruby, because I think there were two things that were happening here, that one of which was a little unexpected. The crowd was more so in Chris's favor. Yeah, they were really behind Chris Statlander. And so you had Ruby working from a point of a disadvantage, right? Like, she's trying everything she can to put away Chris, and she can't. And on top of all of that, you have a crowd that is firmly behind Chris. And so when that kick out moment happened, and the crowd erupts because they're behind Chris Statlander, and Ruby had kind of thrown the kitchen sink at her.
Yeah.
I felt like the shocked face moment for me worked, because in that moment, I could believe that Ruby Soho was thinking, what else can I do? I've done everything, and I don't have the people behind me this time. What can I do? I like that moment. I like this match. I actually was really into it, and halfway through, I was like, you know what? I could see either one of them winning. Like, originally, it was an easy pick of like, oh, Ruby Soho, totally. And then I thought, well, you know, Chris Statlander. And Chris was...
I had Chris.
Did you really?
That's my favorite.
I love Chris. I love Chris. I just thought to myself, though, that Ruby's too new, and I think they at least want Ruby in the finals.
It's going to be Ruby versus Jade, for sure.
Yeah, oh, totally.
For sure.
Well, here's the cool thing about Ruby. Somebody pointed out on Twitter that part of what Ruby's needed is what she works best with. Ruby works best with people bigger than her, because the type of match she works is the match where she's trying to kind of overcome the giant. And so the cool thing is Chris Statlander is bigger. And so she was able to have that type of match with Chris, right?
David and
So,
Goliath type of
right,
thing.
she works the good David and Goliath match. She beat Chris by a stroke of luck. It was a flash victory, but she was able to do it. Next, she has Nyla Rose. Same deal. She's got Nyla Rose in front of her. That's going to be a big, tough one. And I think she will overcome Nyla Rose. But I think the third time won't be the charm, where she's got the last big challenge in front of her, which will be Jade Cargill, who's just going to kick her ass.
That bitch.
That bitch.
Kick her ass.
Yes. And she will have the That Bitch show will officially take place on Dynamite and TBS. Yeah.
But I love Rampage is her show.
I had a blast with it. I loved it.
It was my besides the main event, it was my match of the night.
I think even with the main event, this was my match of the night. It was a surpriser. It was a sleeper hit. I had fun with it. I have no complaints about that match whatsoever.
It started off a little slow, but I get it. They were getting the feel out. They were trying to slowly bring in the crowd. I get it. And then when it picked up, and it was no slowing down. Every move that they pretty much had in their arsenal. Well, I know Chris Statlander has a lot more moves, but she usually can't pull them out on women. It's just the way it is. Like, like her 450 splash, she's done it on guys. She's never done it on, But the point being is that at one point, I was like, this could go either way because these women are leaving it all on the table, but I can never bet against Chris Statlander or Thunder Rosa or Santana and Ortiz. If those 4 wrestlers are anywhere on the table, it could be obvious to me that the other person's going to win and I'll still go after my fave. So even though I looked at my husband and I was like, Tony, I really want Chris Statlander to win, but I know Soho's taking it. I know where this is going, but I'm rooting for Chris all the way. So when she lost, I was just there like this and I was just like, and after a good 2 minutes, I was like, bullshit.
Well, I will say this. I like the story that everyone who got a bye except for Chris advanced. You had Nyla Rose, she had a bye. Thunder Rosa had a bye. And Jade Cargill had a bye, and they all made it. So there was an advantage to the bye. And I like that there was still an advantage to the bye because Chris didn't lose in very decisive fashion. It was a very flash type pin that saw Ruby take the victory, and it was mostly considered an upset. And that
Ola pins are not my fave.
I like it in the sense of keeping somebody strong, and I liked that
they can't get out of it.
Chris Statlander was kept strong, but more than that, I came away from this match remembering how over Chris Statlander is, how good Chris Statlander is, and how there's still a go with her. There's still a lot more in the tank with her. There's still a lot more you can do with her. And I hope that they do move forward more with her than they have in the past.
I agree. I feel like it's funny that she's with Best Friends because Best Friends have had quite a few pushes to the pelts and have never quite gotten there. And I'm hoping that's not going to be her story. She always gets close and then pop, nothing, and that's why I'm really considering, and I've been thinking about it for since even before Britt Baker became champ. I see Chris Statlander holding the AEW women's belt.
I do too, and I want her to. I want her to too. I forgot how much I wanted to see that before last night.
Chris Statlander was and I can't remember who she was up against, but the first time I turned to AEW in 2019, which was close to November-ish, Chris Statlander had a match. And that was the first time I saw AEW. My husband was watching it. And I was, because I was thinking about WWE and I'm like, and I turned around and I see this big muscular woman doing things that I had never seen women do before. Because remember, I was gone from the scene for a while. When I used to watch wrestling, women's matches were popcorn matches, unless you had a Chyna in the ring. Then it was just like, woo, Chyna. But I was like, who is this woman? And before I knew it, I was sitting down in front of the TV, and I never missed a Dynamite after that.
I love that Chris Statlander was your draw to Dynamite. That rules.
I love her. I love her, and I met her when I went to Dynamite in September. Took a picture with her and everything. So this brings us to the main event, which was an Atlanta street fight, anything goes style between Cody Rhodes and Andrade El Idolo. My God, this got started on the ramp.
Yeah, so Cody didn't get his super entrance.
No, finally, right? No fireworks and everything for you. He gets everything.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I am a fan of the Cody entrance because it's so absurd. Because he gets we get the chandelier raising, we get the music, we get just obscene amounts of pyro, like. Right, and then he stands on the turnbuckle, and they added orchestral instruments to the song because the version of Kingdom that he comes out to now is not the original version. They like added stuff to it, and then he stands on the turnbuckle, and we do we got the jib cam like panning across him, and it just everything is meant to look so epic when it comes to Cody, and I just. The absurdity of that entrance is probably one of my favorite things. And I don't hate it the way people do, because I know people get annoyed by it and they're like, why does Cody deserve all of this? And I'm like, why not? Just throw it all at it.
Right.
Give him the biggest entrance imaginable. This match, of course, had one giant distraction, which was, why is Cody's back peeling? And
well, that became obvious.
It became obvious at the end. Well, that was my initial thought. Was my very first thought. As soon as I saw it, I was like, if I didn't know any better, that looks like flame retardant. But like, what's really gonna happen? Like, is Cody gonna get set on fire? That doesn't make any sense. And like, I kind of moved on. But you could also kind of see it on Andrade as well.
Yes, that's why he kept his shirt on the whole time.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't come off of him.
Right. And so I had that initial thought, and then I was like, or maybe it's just a bad sunburn, whatever. And I just kind of moved on. Because I was like, it's kind of distracting.
It's just peeling.
Yeah. And but so the rest of the match took place. There was Cody had a few allusions to Triple H. He pulled out the sledgehammer, then put it away, then grabbed the golden shovel. And so it's one of those, like, Cody continuing to be aware of the comparisons people draw between him and Hunter and him and Cena and things like that. It was almost glorious.
I think we've dated ourselves here a little bit.
The one thing to talk about at the beginning of the match, though, was as the match kicks off, as they get started at the top of the ramp, Arn Anderson trips and falls on the ramp.
He just always falls.
Yeah, and the weird thing was, like, you could see Jose like help him up, and then him and Jose start brawling. I thought that was pretty good.
Jose had to break character.
Yeah, just for like half a second, you see Jose kind of like reach, grab his hand, and then and it was I was like actually afraid for him for a second. Arn's had a few falls.
A few.
But but you know, they call this match the Cody match. Because Cody tends to go over the top in these types of main events. And we should have known, because he mentioned on Road 2 this week that, you know, his signature moment at this point in AEW has been his backflip off the cage, which took place in Atlanta. So the guess was that being back in Atlanta, he was going to do something else crazy in Atlanta. But what could it be?
Set yourself on fire. When Brandy came out.
Oh, man.
First, she started getting booed.
Brandy loves that, though. I mean, like, you can tell Brandy, like, really adores being a heel. Like, I think she was ready for the chorus of boos the second she pulled off the hood and the mask and revealed that she was Brandy Rhodes. Like, I think she lives for that reaction.
I think so.
of the booze. Like, there's a reason she comes out of the heel tunnel whenever she accompanies Cody to the ring. She knows who she is.
Yes, she does.
I have to say, though, she put so much lighter fluid on that table that every time I see it on Twitter, I think it's looping because she keeps putting so much on there. I think it's just like a looping GIF, and then I'm like, no, she just like just kept dumping the.
Yeah, they're like this big, 2 cans like that.
She dumped a whole lot,
all of it.
All of it. And I suppose that's better looking, but way less safe than because like WWE did it one time. I was thinking about Extreme Rules 2014, where it was Bryan versus Kane, and like Kane intentionally. No, it wasn't even the way it was. You could see the reflection on the table. I guess just the way it was lit, you could see that the lighter fluid was on just 2 sides of the table. So that way, when Bryan and Kane went through the middle of it, they wouldn't have actually touched the flames at all. They would have just
barbecue.
Yeah, and they would have just hit the like. And the thing is, but you could see that it was only fire on 2 sides of it, so that they weren't actually going to touch the flames. But here, on the other hand, that was not the case at all. Brandy was just like, nah, lighter fluid all over this fucking shit, and I'm just gonna empty this bottle here. Yeah,
burn his ass too.
And yeah, she sets the flame, and the flame goes up, and immediately my brain went, oh, Cody's back. Duh.
Yes.
That's what was going on here.
And they got burnt.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the pictures Cody posted to Instagram? Those look awful.
He got really burnt.
Yeah, he got really burnt. And he also took the brunt of it. I'm not going to say what a lot of people have said, which is that, hey, Cody landed in it, so shouldn't he be the one who was pinned? And I thought, I mean, you could argue that Andrade's face got in it, and that could probably be a little more devastating. Like, I think hitting the back could probably give you a bit of an adrenaline rush, but if your face gets hit, then, that's debilitating enough to take somebody down. I wasn't so down on the ending, but I was more just, like, flabbergasted at the absurdity of this. What the fuck, Cody? What are you doing?
It was crazy.
Yeah, like, what is this? Why?
My sister was texting me because we text throughout the Dynamite and Rampage, and she was like, "That's not real fire." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is. They're doing this shit for real, for real."
Oh yeah, and his back looks awful right now.
Yeah,
they were still on fire, like you see while Andrade's being pinned.
He's putting out Cody and himself.
Yeah, while the pin is happening.
That was insane. Yes, Anna, that was insane.
Completely insane.
And I think that he probably did win over some people that were booing him because of how fucking far he's willing to go.
Yeah. I mean, the boos are such an interesting story.
Let's go,
because
Cody sucks.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a very John Cena-like thing, right? But at the same time, John Cena never turned heel. And the question was always like, what would have happened if he had? And we still don't really know. I mean, he kind of did in the Rock feud, and that he was still like himself, but he positioned himself against the Rock's fans. But in this case, it's like Cody knows he'd be cheered if he turned, which is the opposite of what a heel is supposed to get. And so is that what he should be doing? I think there is a middle ground. I think that, like, when I think about Cody, like in the indies and some of his, like, some of the stuff he did, like New Japan, Ring of Honor, even when he wasn't so much a heel, he did have a very sharp tongue that I feel like we haven't seen from Cody in a long time. He used to get on the mic and he used to like eviscerate some guys. And like the way he like went after Kenny Omega and like talked about how you couldn't ever make it in WWE's developmental program, and that's why you're here. That's why you had to go to the indies, like all that stuff. I used to think that that's the side of Cody I think people want to see. I don't necessarily think he has to turn heel as much as he maybe just needs a little bit of that edge back.
He's walking that fine line, like John Moxley. like Eddie
Yeah.
Kingston. They are baby faces, but they have heelish things that they do.
And that's what I want to see from Cody. I don't think he has
Yes.
to necessarily turn heel as much as he just needs to kind of sharpen it up a bit, and not be so white meat, red, white, and blue.
I like what my husband has to say here. He has good takes. He has really good takes. This is why he's been liking Cody more than ever, because he's like, if Cody doesn't give the fans like what they want, and the fans want to see him go heel, I want to see him go heel. I do. I do. I want him to come out with that black hair again when he teased everyone for one day.
I think he wanted to do that,
And
and
then he
then
changed his mind.
no, I think TBS was like, dude, we recorded all of this Go Big show with you with blonde hair. We can't have you.
Right, because it's like it's being recorded.
Yeah,
live.
because because they had filmed all of Go Big Show already, and I think that's legitimately why I think he had to change the hair back, because in that case, like, you screwing up our continuity. This is a show that's not airing till January, and and you're gonna be promoting this show. You have to do it with your regular hair, with the hair that we filmed it all this way.
Think about that. I didn't even think about that, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. And Cody got the win, which was fine because, last time it was Andrade.
Yeah,
and Malachi that got the win. So
yeah, I'm not one of those guys who's like, Cody has to lose every match. Like, at some point he has to win. He actually has, like, of the EVPs, like the highest losing record of anybody.
Well, nobody will admit that.
Like, or even of the top guys in AEW, like, he has his win-loss record is way worse than Adam Page, way worse than CM Punk, Bryan Danielson. Like, people just want to see Cody lose because he was kind of the face of AEW for the longest time, and everybody just assumed, in him being the face of AEW, that he was going to put himself over everybody. Yes. So they're like, okay, we anticipate he's going to do that, so therefore we want him to lose. And he has lost a lot. I know there's like the complaints that he didn't lose to Lance Archer last year for the TNT title, but like, think about what that TNT title run got us. It got us Ricky Starks and Eddie Kingston. That was not going to happen with Lance Archer as champion.
I don't think so.
The whole open challenge thing, it wasn't going to happen that way.
Beautiful. So, the open challenge thing was beautiful.
There's a lot of things that worked out. I'm not like super pro Cody, but I'm like not as anti Cody as a lot of people are.
Right.
Because
Same.
I'm just kind of somewhere in between. I think the boos are funny, and I think they're fun. And being at an event, I would happily participate in them.
I would boo him for sure, just because it's fun.
It's fun, right? Yeah. And I think that is a lot of the sentiment, that I think a lot of people are having fun. I don't think he has go away heat per se. I don't even think that's a thing. I think if you've got heat, you have heat. Like, go away heat to me is a non-reaction. That to me is, if you're not reacting at all, then that says that you don't want it on your TV. But
there is a face that a heel that only ever gets cheered. So if he ever did turn heel and only got cheers, I mean, because Baker has never been booed.
I mean, she was to start, because the fans just initially hated her. But since she, but I think as they found out how good she was, she does get cheered a lot. And then I was thinking you were talking about Cole. Adam Cole is a heel that the fans love.
He just comes out to do his music.
Yeah, he came out to do his music, but the fans love it. The fans love the theme.
Love it. He has the best entrance.
It is amazing. I can't hear his song anymore without wanting the crowd there to sing along, right? Because it doesn't sound right anymore. If I hear it on its own, if I go back and watch his debut at All Out, where the crowd didn't know the song yet, it feels wrong. It doesn't even feel. It feels completely wrong. It feels completely off. But no, Adam Cole.
I have to admit, it's one of the only 3 songs that I have of wrestling songs in my playlists. I have All About the Boom. I have Hybrid Flow from the Hybrid 2.
Okay.
And of course, Jericho.
Yeah, I can see Judas.
Those are the 3s that I have.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually think AEW, especially this year, has had a phenomenal year musically. I think that just some of the themes that they put out this year have been it's really damn good.
What is the name of their producer? Actually,
Mikey Ruckus.
Mikey Ruckus. Yes, it just left my head. Mikey Ruckus has been doing some phenomenal work.
Mikey Ruckus does some phenomenal work.
So shout out to Mikey Ruckus.
Yes. And then there was, and I guess a little shout out to myself because I did help produce Sammy Guevara's theme, and he's the TNT champion. So that's one of those themes I get to like hear on
I
the regular.
love that theme.
So shout out to Montezi, who I was just talking with today because he is on a mission to one day perform that song live. That is his ultimate goal. And we were talking about manifesting that. Like, how do we manifest getting him in an arena to perform Sammy down to the ring? And just know that if it ever happens, it's because we are like trying. We are trying to make that happen.
I hope it happens. That would be fucking awesome.
I think so too.
That would be awesome. You are a man of many talents and skills. I bet you're super techie too.
I'm a software developer for a living. That's what I do. So yes,
we're done. Software developer.
Yeah, that's my day job. My day to day is
smart too, y'all.
I am a software developer. I am literally.
Beautiful.
If you've seen me like glancing at my computer, it's because I'm on call for the app I work on. So like, if there's any errors going on with that, I keep like glancing over at my iPad right here and my laptop.
Hey,
so
you a working man. You got to do what you got to do. I understand.
Got to do. I'm on call, so
you're on call, so you got to do what you got to do. So remember, I told you I had 2 questions of the night for you. So here's my second question for you. Lucha Bros are the current tag teams champions. Mm-hmm. FTR has been going after them for the the championship belts. They're not getting it again.
Nah.
Who is next? Who dethrones Lucha Bros? Because I have no clue. Of course, I want Santana and Ortiz, but I do not see them being the one to dethrone Lucha Bros. I just don't. I would love that, but I can't figure out a storyline that would work in that capacity.
You know who's really hot right now? And if I wanted to do it, like, it depends on when they want to do it, right? Because like, I think Jurassic Express is really hot. And I think we're kind of approaching a point where like Jungle Boy is so hot, he needs a belt. Right. But I don't know that I would take the belts off the Lucha Bros right now. I do think
not right now
that Santana and Ortiz would be my go-to. I would want to see them turn before I do so. I like them as baby faces, I do. But I was just recently rewatching the Tag Team Battle Royal from February of 2020, which is my all-time favorite Tag Team Battle Royal. And they were just so good in that. And I actually do miss them in that heel role. I think they were very good at it. I wouldn't mind returning them and seeing what you can do. Yeah. He is. He is absolutely Jungle Man now.
I would love for Santana and Ortiz to get the belts. I
would too.
I don't say it anymore because I've been hurt so many times. It's just, it hurts my soul every time they're so close or heading in that direction. And then they're just like, poof, gone. Where are they?
Now, I believe they are ranked again, right?
Yes, I believe so.
I think they were the 5th ranked team. And so the cool thing is if you start knocking off those teams, because I think the number 1 ranked is still Jurassic Express at the moment.
They are on the top.
So I'm pulling that up right now. So yeah, Jurassic Express number 1. And so the cool thing is, look at the rankings as they exist. It's number 1, Jurassic Express, number 2, FTR, number 3, Gun Club, number 4, Santana and Ortiz.
Gun Club is number 3?
Yeah, but here's the thing. They just lost. So they fall below Santana and Ortiz. Then you have FTR. You have them lose. Then they fall below. And then let's just get Jurassic Express out of the way. Have them lose. Then all of a sudden,
Santana and Ortiz
move up. You could do that Revolution, maybe?
That would be beautiful.
Because here's the thing. Santana and Ortiz versus Lucha Bros. We've seen it before. In Impact. And it ruled. It was phenomenal. We have not seen it in AEW. We have not seen it on a grand stage. We have not seen it
Oh.
in front of a major arena.
They paired together, but they
Yes,
haven't
they
been
have
against
paired.
each other.
But yes, that's true. I would
Oh
love to
my
see it.
God, I would love to see that. And Lucha Bros are my second favorite tag.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be Private Party, but
Yeah, they
so
kind of.
Private Party, yeah, but with the Hardy family thing, I just don't like what they're
I
doing now.
wonder if that's done though. Like the way Matt Hardy just tweeted, how he said going forward you're going to start seeing the best version of himself and all of that. I wonder if they may have finally called it. I hope so. I
I
would
hope
love it.
so. Don't
I'm
like
kind
it.
of done with it. Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
done
like
with
it.
it.
You got the
I
Butcher
get
and the Blade getting buried. TH2 disappeared, and now Private Party changed.
I get what it was for. The whole idea was, look, we got all these guys and not enough TV time, but if we put them in a faction together, then we can have them
I
all
get it.
appear. But like,
They got lost in the
they
shuffle.
got
And
it ended up just losing all of them. I HFO can go.
HFL can definitely go and bring me back the Private Party that we had, Mr. Shots with their, their actual gear. They started wearing UPS garb. Like, why are they dressed like delivery men? It
Yeah,
just made
where
no
is Mark
sense to
Quinn,
me.
by the way? I'm curious about that because we've only seen Isaiah Cassidy lately.
Where is Mark Quinn? Why do I feel like I saw Mark Quinn recently? I must have been watching something like an old match.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, I just rewatched the Brody Lee tribute from last year.
Yeah.
And they
Okay.
had a match on that. So I don't know where Mark Quinn is.
Yeah.
I don't even see him in the vlogs.
Yeah. He hasn't been in the. Yeah, he hasn't been anywhere. And so I'm curious because it's been a lot of. Yeah. It's truly just been a lot of Isaiah Cassidy. I like Isaiah
Yeah.
Cassidy, but I have no idea. I'm like curious. I need to Google
Maybe
that right
he's
now.
hurt. Maybe he's hurt. And while you're Googling it, because we're coming close to the end, I want your Rampage predictions.
Oh.
So it's only 3. We got Sammy Guevara versus Tony Nese.
Yeah. I mean, Sammy. It stays with Sammy.
Sammy. FTR versus Lucha Bros. It was going to be a 2 out of 3 for the belts. Phoenix is injured, so now it's Penta and Pac.
Although what's interesting is that they're still doing the AAA title match this Saturday in forget where it's being held, and somebody in the chat I'm sure will say. But yeah, the match for the AAA tag team titles, FTR challenging or FTR defending the belts against the Lucha Bros is still happening in AAA this Saturday. So curious as to what exactly kept Rey Fenix for just a night.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Well, was Rampage filmed on Wednesday?
Yeah, Rampage was filmed Wednesday. So
maybe his clearance was going to come Friday. You know what I mean? Like, they don't like to play around and
right.
Dynamite. So obviously I got Penta and Pac winning. I mean, well, do you think that now that this is not
here's the funny thing. I haven't looked at the spoilers. I think FTR wins just because they're the established team. And then that helps keep their momentum against Lucha Bros to actually get their shot. And then, of course, there's the Jade Cargill squash. And she'll win that.
But I have to mention Janai Kai.
Yes.
Because I've interviewed Janai Kai with We Love Wrestling.
Nice.
And I've seen a lot of her stuff. And I've been hashtagging for a while Rise of Kai, which is not my hashtag that I created. It's just, because Janai Kai is coming up. So this is beautiful. She's one of Thunder Rosa's girls.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it's going to be a squash, obviously. It's Jade. But I love the fact that they're giving her airtime on TV. This is great for Janai Kai. So
I think so too.
Big ups for Janai.
And I love that they play up Thunder Rosa as a coach, as somebody who has pupils, because this isn't the first one, because we've seen Maddie Rinkowski on TV as well.
Yes.
And
right. Jasmine Allure, like she's had a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's cool that that's kind of a part of her character, that it's not just that she's that she's got the in-ring experience, right? But that she also she's putting a legacy on the business as well through her students. So
yeah, and she's gonna be the next women's champ, AEW women's champ.
She is.
She's phenomenal, people. Great in the ring, amazing promos, and her character's 100% fleshed out. I mean, I can't see anyone better taking over the AEW championship belt from Britt Baker than Thunder Rosa. She's gonna have just as much pop as Baker has, if not more.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's the one person that I think the crowd would cheer over Britt is Thunder Rosa. And to me, I think you could close out a pay-per-view with Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. I think
it has to be a Revolution.
I think you could main event with that at Revolution or Double or Nothing. I don't think you should wait that long. I think
Double or Nothing. No, Revolution.
Yeah, Revolution. I think is the time to do it.
Absolutely.
I don't think Britt is gonna be a one and done. I think Britt will have many reigns over her time. Like when people tell me like, oh, that's too soon to end Britt's reign, it's not like Britt's gonna like die from losing. Like I think she will have more reigns going forward.
I agree. Do you ever see Nyla getting a belt again?
It's tough because there are so many acts ahead of her that it's a shame that her first reign went the way it did, because I think it was always going to end at Double or Nothing. But when it did, but she got sidelined for 8 weeks because of the pandemic. She couldn't leave Washington D.C. for 8 whole weeks, and she lost 8 weeks of TV that she could have been having title defenses, could have been appearing, and so her reign feels like it was cut way shorter than it was.
Very
because
short.
It went from what she won in February of last year, the 12th. She won it February 12th, 2020, and then lost it
at Double or Nothing.
At Double or Nothing, and so she only had it.
3 months. 3 months?
Yeah, 3 months. That's a little over 3.5 months, which isn't a bad reign had she gotten to appear during those 8 weeks. But the fact is, we only saw her. If that's a 3.5 months, so we're talking 16 weeks, and she was gone for half of it.
That sucks. That totally sucks. So I feel like she needs a redo.
But I just don't know where it happens because there's so many people ahead of her.
She's gonna get a TBS. She's gonna be a TBS champion at some point. So I think that's in the line for Nyla.
Yeah, I hope she does get something. But it's kind of a shame that the reign happened the way it did.
Absolutely. Well, people, this was so much fun.
Always is fun.
I really want you to come back, and I want you to bring your 2 Grap City buddies with you.
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? I would absolutely do that. I would message them right now.
So let's do that. Let's talk offline. Let's do that because I would love to have all 3 of you guys on.
Absolutely. I would love to do that.
This was great, people. Thanks to everyone who joined. Thank you guys for all the comments. I appreciate y'all. Courtney, who is in the room, will be my guest next week, people. I have Courtney on next week.
Shout out, Courtney.
Yes, Courtney has always been a supporter of my show, and I really want to get her on as a fan and get her perspective on wrestling so that everybody can actually see her and not just in the chat. Again, people, if you were in the room and you didn't hit that like button, please hit that like. If you're not subscribed. And if you check out the descriptions, please follow Will and subscribe. All the links are in there. He is host of Grap City for Fightful, and on Saturdays at 9
a.m., so noon Eastern.
So that's 12 for us on the East Coast.
Yes.
So please check it out. Please subscribe. Please
Great
support.
Way to spend your Saturday afternoon with
Absolutely. Get a coffee or a tea or a soda or whatever you like to drink and sit back, relax, chill. If you like to smoke, do that too. And listen to some awesome Grap City. I've listened to them and they just, like I told you in the beginning, well, you guys flow. You have a connection. It's just seamless. I love it. It's great. And you guys do have a great viewership. So people, please support. And that's it, y'all. Do you have anything to say, Will, in our closing?
Nope. I always love talking Dynamite with you. And so, Maddie, I am always I'm always willing to come back. You're
always, you said it correctly. You're always welcome.
All right. Show. Well, either way, I wasn't going to welcome myself. Well, I'm always willing to come back. So,
I'm here.
Yeah. So thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it.
And thank you for being on, people. I appreciate y'all. As always, a lot of love, a lot of peace. But above all, y'all, always a lot of wrestling. Until next time, people, we're out. And